Expat Stacker coming to you with my Expat Stacking Goals video for 2020. In this video, I'm going to let you know what my 2020 stacking goals are, how I'm going to challenge myself in 2020, going to explain a little bit of my overview of the market in 2020, and let you know what my stacking strategy is going to be this year. So in this video, I'm going to go over a lot of information and facts and details about economics and politics and basically anything I see that affects precious metals markets. And I'm gonna kind of show you how I go about setting my goals. So hopefully you find this video informative. If you do, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video. Let me know what your thoughts on the video are and what your goals are. Now, of course, I do need to mention that this is just my goals and my strategy, and based on the research that I've done, and is all about my circumstances. So you shouldn't try to just watch this video and follow everything I say. You need to do your own research and think about your own circumstances and all of those things, and set your own goals that fit with you, not just copy mine. So first, let me just kind of tell you about my identity and what my objectives are. So first of all, I'm a stacker. I'm not a flipper. I'm not a numismatist. I'm not a prepper or any of these other things. I'm just a stacker. Okay, I have a long-term outlook, and I see my stack as a form of savings, a form of wealth preservation, hedge against inflation, a safe haven asset, kind of stable retirement, working towards that, kind of like a pension, and maybe be able to pass some of it on to my children as well later on. So I'm aiming to build security and wealth for myself and for my family with this stacking stuff. So with that out of the way, let me just get right to my goals. Okay, I got 4 goals this year. One of them is to get 2 ounces of gold, at least 1 full ounce, and then the others can be fractional and whatever, and then at least 1 ounce in premium government minted bullion. So maybe I get just 1 American Gold Eagle, or 1/10 ounce American Gold Eagles, whatever, just a full ounce, and also at least 1 of the ounces should be in premium government minted bullion. Alright, second goal is 58 ounces of silver, and I want at least 45% of that to be premium government minted bullion. Third goal is 1 ounce of platinum, and that I just want to get 1 full ounce, and I just want it to be in premium government minted bullion. Doesn't have to be American, but I do want it to be premium government minted bullion. And my fourth goal is to add 25 more ounces of copper to the stack. So what that looks like with the current spot prices: gold is at about $1,565 an ounce, silver's just over $18 an ounce, platinum is $972 an ounce, and copper is at about just under $2.80 an ounce. Platinum has been creeping up and creeping up and creeping up, and the reason I added platinum as a goal is because I thought that the price point was pretty attractive, but it's getting less and less attractive by the day. Recently we've had a surge in all the precious metals spot prices, and platinum is getting less and less and less attractive. So, but nevertheless, I'm still adding it to my goals for 2020, and I plan to review my goals in about the halfway point of the year and see how it's going, assess my progress, and see if I need to make any changes. Maybe the spot price skyrockets, or maybe it goes way down, or whatever. So maybe I have some life circumstances that hit. Actually, I got a phone call today which was pretty shocking, and it may affect some things right away here soon. So we'll see how it's going, basically. Now let me go ahead and talk about how I'm going to be challenging myself right now with everything, with all my goals. I did this math a little while ago before those current spot prices that I just listed, but it's about a little over $6,000 for all of the goals that I have. I have a budget. Like precious metals is not the only you know investments that I make, and yes, precious metals are an investment. I'll debate anybody about that. I'm planning to make a video about that topic pretty soon. But anyways, I have other investments going on. I have other financial commitments and things going on, and so I have a precious metal budget in 2020 of about $3,800. So that leaves me about $2,300 short. So I need to come up with $2,300 extra dollars to meet my goal, and divided over 12 months, that's about $192 a month. So I have to challenge myself to find another $192 per month in order to meet my goal. So how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to get a raise a little bit later this year. Not sure how big it's going to be, but I know that's coming. So maybe I can use part of that for, towards this extra 192 that I need to raise every month. I can increase my hours at a second job that I've been working. Can find some additional freelance projects. I did one project last year and I got about $1,000 from that. So could find another additional freelance project, maybe one or two this year. Can reduce subscriptions. I have subscriptions to like Netflix and like a few other things. I already started doing this one. But maybe there's a few other subscriptions that we can knock out and save a little bit of money. So, and taking public transportation, I think that would also help to get towards the extra 192. So this is how I set my goals. This is how I challenge myself, and we'll see what happens. So now I want to give you my kind of overview of the markets and how things are going. And basically, guys, to some extent, everything I'm about to say about gold, I'm going to talk about gold markets first, and everything I'm about to say about gold kind of applies to silver as well. I'd say that the main difference is that silver is a lot more manipulated, and I think its price is suppressed. And obviously there's a difference between gold and silver in that gold is viewed more as a stable monetary metal. It's more trusted. Silver is more volatile. So, but I think a lot of what I'm saying about gold can be applied to silver here, and you could just think of it as like maybe gold junior. Where I get this information from is a variety of sources. I don't just pay attention to the spot price and react to that. I pay attention to, bullion news sites. Look at the mining industry, see how things are going there. Lots of different things to consider when it comes to precious metals. So, but just to get to it, analysts and miners have been saying that for several years now that there's been a shortage of gold. And, when you think about a gold mine, it's an asset, but it's a depleting asset, meaning, it's, unless you make a new discovery that you didn't know was there, it's always going to be decreasing in value. And mining companies have to, replace every ounce that they pull out of the ground every year in order to sustain their profits. And they have reserves, but they're facing reserve depletion because they have not been discovering, making major gold discoveries. So even the biggest mining companies like Barrick and Newmont and them, they need to find between 5 million and 7 million ounces annually in order to be profitable and stable, but they're not. So what's the solution for them? And what they've been turning to is mergers and acquisitions, because they've been pouring more and more money into trying to find new gold mines and major gold discoveries, and they haven't found any. So a lot of them have turned to M&As to increase their reserves and lengthen the lifespans of their depleting assets, the mines, and trying to acquire more mines, purchasing from other companies and the like. So, but this is a short-term solution, guys, and it doesn't really fix the long-term problem. So there are some areas that are not explored, and there may be some technical breakthroughs where they're able to, kind of make more or increase their reserves. But for now, it's not, life is not looking great for them. In the 1990s, miners were finding an average of like 100 million new ounces every year. But over the past decade, new discoveries have just plummeted. 25 million ounces a year total. We're talking total here for the whole market. And additionally, over the past decade, new mine discovery and exploration budget allocation, as I said, has increased. So they're spending a lot more money trying to find the gold, but they're finding a lot less of it. So they're doing these mergers and acquisitions and trying to increase their reserves, but it's not really helping. So that's kind of the state of the industry. And now if we look at like global markets, what we see is rising global tension and conflict all over the world. Or what you see on the screen right now is kind of a map of where there are armed conflicts going on, and military conflicts, violence, and things like this going on. And if it's green, it's peaceful. If it's red, then there's a lot of violence going on. So you can see there's a lot of violence going on throughout the world, and we hear this from governments, intergovernmental agencies, NGOs, and just all over the place. Financial news, we hear about the trade war between China and the US, and Korea and Japan, and China and Japan, and Korea and China, and all of these different countries all around the world. And we can really see this, the volatility in the global economy and geopolitical power struggles all over the world. And competition has led many investors and central banks alike to flock towards gold. If you haven't seen yet, you should look up at how much gold central banks have been stacking, and in particular China, Russia, India, and some others. They've been stacking at a disproportionate rate compared to their previous rates over the past 10 years or so, and compared to other countries. So I would encourage you to look at that information. And many developing economies are looking at de-dollarizing their foreign exchange reserves as well, and they're flocking towards gold. And although central bank demand only constitutes about 16% of global gold demand, is still a good window into how financial decision makers see things right now. It's not just the governments that are looking at it. Investment banks and individuals and a lot of others are looking at the monetary metal. So also, other forms of political and economic instability are going on right now that we haven't seen before in the past, like these algorithms, for these passive investments, passive ETFs and stuff. There's these algorithms, and they do trading, passive trading, and they react to Trump tweets. So once one algorithm starts, selling something off because Trump tweeted something, then another algorithm will do the same thing, and then another, and then another, and then real people will see this, and maybe some of them will sell. So we've never seen anything like this before. So there is a lot of volatility and instability. Okay, so that's the way I kind of see gold and silver right now. And now I'm going to move towards copper. And again, pretty much everything I'm about to say about copper you can apply to silver, because silver is kind of looked at as like gold junior in terms of like a monetary metal, and then it is also looked at as an industrial metal, much like how copper is viewed. So a copper shortage has also been on the horizon, and copper demand is increasing. Same thing for silver, like I said. And copper mines tend to be much larger in scale than gold mines. You're looking at a mine right now in Canada, and you can just see how utterly massive this thing is. So even if they do make some new copper discoveries, which they have not been, it's going to take a lot more planning and capital and investment for them to make that mine operational. And simply because of their scale. So, and because of the lack of new discovery, I can say that we could deduce that there won't be any major new copper mines producing within the next 5 years. That's not to say that there's not going to be any copper within within the next 5 years it's all going to be gone. I'm not saying that. I'm saying there won't be any new major copper mines producing within the next 5 years because there hasn't been any discovery, and like I said, it takes a long time to get these mines up and operational. I mean, like I said, you can just see on the screen the sheer size and scale of this thing. It's just gigantic. Okay, next, what I want to point out is that, everybody's been talking about, are we going to hit a recession? We're long overdue for a recession, things like that. Like I said, I'm not a prepper. I'm not a doomsday type of person, but, I do think that conditions are ripe right now for a global economic downturn, and it's inevitably going to occur. These things happen, markets are cyclical, so it is going to happen. And we may see, when this happens, huge domestic infrastructure spending, like we've seen happen in China in the past. And a lot of countries are going to be looking to change their infrastructure to be geared towards more alternative energy, renewable energy sources. And so you may see a huge boom in industrial projects around the world when we do have this global economic downturn. So industrial projects require huge amounts of metal, like copper, like silver. So, not to mention there's increased demand in copper and silver in, just the the alternative energy sector to begin with. Right now, it's happening right now, but I'm just saying that I think that, there may be a huge increase in demand for it with infrastructure projects happening. So another takeaway about copper is that many countries like China, which is the largest auto market globally, Japan, which is the third largest auto market globally, South Korea, Taiwan, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, and Costa Rica, as well as a number of cities around the world, have all set a date within an average of between 5 to 10 years by which they say the sale of all internal combustion engine vehicles that run on fossil fuels will be banned. That means no more fossil fuel vehicles in these markets. So what are they going to drive? They're going to be driving electric cars, and maybe they drive hydrogen fuel cell car, which is also basically a type of electric car. So these countries have already begun this rapid movement towards electrification and the demand for new energy vehicles, which again includes electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, fuel cell, like hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, has been dramatically increasing. And we can see this. This is not just we think it's going to happen. Tesla just opened their new manufacturing facility in Shanghai, China. They're building their next one in Germany. It's happening right now. So this is going to increase the demand for copper and for silver in a huge way. Electric cars use way more copper and silver than an internal combustion engine vehicle. So, not to mention there are a lot of other alternative energy projects and infrastructure initiatives that I just mentioned a little bit about already that will also increase the demand for metals and precious metals especially. So we will see an increased demand for these metals reflected in the spot price of copper, silver, and other metals. That's what I believe. Basically, let me just summarize what I see as the market conditions. Supply is dwindling, demand is increasing, and markets are very volatile at the moment. So, with all of that said, and with my goals stated, let me just now talk to you about my strategies, okay? I'm going to start very slowly because things are extremely volatile right now. There was just an assassination of the Iranian general in Iraq, and, a lot of things are going on right now, and the spot price is moving every day by a lot. So I'm going to start very slowly because, anything could happen. the spot price could go back down, it could go up even further. So I'm really gonna start slowly and cautiously. I'm gonna make some very small initial acquisitions. In fact, I may not even make any acquisitions in the first month or two. We'll see about that, but I'll still be making videos, but not any unboxings or anything if I decide to, not make any acquisitions. But regardless, I'm going to be starting out very slowly, very cautiously. I'm going to be building cash reserves at that time, which are dedicated towards precious metals, and try to stay on pace with my goals. And as I mentioned, there's a lot of volatility, so I'm going to attempt to capitalize on that volatility. Right now, gold spot price is at a 7-year high, or near 7-year high. Now's not the time to buy for gold. I'm trying to capitalize on the volatility. So now, like I said, we don't know. There are some, experts, banks, investment banks that are saying that gold could get to all-time highs. So if I don't get anything right now, then I'd be missing out on a pretty good opportunity. But that's why I'm saying I'm going to take it very slowly, try to make some small initial acquisitions, build up the cash reserves, and when I feel that I have kind of a better vision of what's going on, I'll wait for some volatility and then make a large acquisition at an opportune moment. That's not only about the price, it's also about what becomes available to me when, because I don't have access to, everything that most stackers who are here on YouTube have access to. So, guys, that is my video for my 2020 goals, how I see the market, and my strategies. And I would love to hear what your thoughts are on my goals and my strategies. And I would also love to hear what your guys' goals and strategies are for this year. All right. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Once again, this is Expat Stacker, and I'll catch you on the flip side.